Okay, so hi, I'm Michal,
I'm Artur.
and we're going to talk about scalable CSS architecture today. Actually, what's scalable CSS?
Yeah,
What's maintainable CSS, and does it
does it
even
even
exist?
exist? Well, it kind of does, because
So,
yeah,
what do we need to for CSS to be scalable and
like
modular?
for it to be modular, we just need to split it into components, recycle components like a build blocks, so we can build our whole website out
Yeah,
of them.
I think encapsulation helps with maintainability,
So
but
yeah,
it's not available in CSS. So how do we do it?
yeah,
And predictability, which means
that we are certain that this thing does this and that, and when if we remove this component,
yeah,
we just don't break like the half of the website.
yeah. So actually, how does it refers to CSS? Uh,
Yeah,
it pretty much sums up how do we face CSS problems today. Whoa. But what do we really have in CSS? We have cascades, we have global namespace, and we have sorter specificity. So can we do something about it? I think we can,
we can.
and there is a solution to this kind of problem with CSS lacking some features we need, and it's convention over configuration. And actually, what this means,
It means that we need strict set of rules, really strict, to kind of emulate what we need and force them on us.
yeah, and we should focus on the good parts of the language and just discard the bad parts.
The
So
bad
this is just like in JavaScript, but
Only, yeah,
in CSS it's even thinner. This good parts. Yeah.
it's hard.
So it's hard, but it's not impossible to make our style sheets quite a bit more maintainable. So
Painful.
so we're introducing ITCSS. Whoa, what's this? ITCSS is a short for inverted triangle CSS. This is this inverted triangle. It's nice, yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's triangle.
Yeah,
Triangle.
it's amazing.
It's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so actually, all this inverted triangle represents is ordering of invoking our style sheets. So these style sheets, these files on top are declared.
As the most general
Yeah,
files.
yeah,
that
these are
affects the
these are
whole
first
website.
as first, and then we go to the top as we
The bottom.
declare. Sorry, the bottom,
As
and we get more specific, and we overwrite what we had declared earlier.
Yeah.
So to put it into something that you'll surely understand, this is how ITCSS looks in practice.
yeah, this
We're
triangle.
just importing folders of style sheets, and we name them settings, tools, generic elements, object, components, trumps, and they just override each other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Artur,
Maybe I'm
maybe
gonna
you start.
So we start with settings and tools, and those guys are like preprocessor specific. So if you used for some reason a CSS, that they wouldn't be relevant, naturally relevant. But they are at the top because they affect the whole whole style sheet structure. In settings, we've got variables, which and anything below can depend on them, and then we've got tools consisting of mixins and functions, and again, anything below is expecting that can access them.
Yeah, so the next group is generic and element styles. So these are just for reset our CSS, for normalizing, and to style just per HTML elements.
Oh no, and now goes the best part. Like it's I would say like core concept, object and components. And objects are very basic and simple simple styles that they are mostly responsible for the layout. A great example of an object would be a container or a grid. So basically, it doesn't have any look, but you can use it to compose other elements, components inside your page. Components are more specific, and they are basically for anything else. Like if you like to create a blog post or some segment inside the blog post.
Yeah, and the core thing to remember here is that objects are declared earlier than components, so components override objects, and you can be sure that that they override each other, and we'll talk about this later. And the last thing, on the bottom of our triangle are trumps, and these are our utilities and helper classes for visibility, for literally overriding anything.
But they are very specific. Like let's say is utility height, utility update color. Something.
We'll cover this later.
Yeah.
So to sum it up, this is how this inverted triangle looks like. You can watch it.
Enjoy.
Yeah. This is all ITCSS.
Yeah, really. So I guess we can move on. Now we are going to share some of our observations and recommendations if you would like to try to use ITCSS in your projects.
So first thing, that group order is crucial, because this is a core concept of ITCSS. We have to declare the settings before components and before trumps, etc., because that's just how it works. But the inner order of styles inside folders or inside groups doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter, actually.
It should. Yeah, like you've got components and you just don't care about their order.
Yeah. So the next thing is just to avoid important.
That should go without saying, but you know.
Normal stuff. The next thing that we would like to talk about is BEM. Is a convention of using components as block elements, and BEM is a short for block element modifier.
Yep.
And this translates to HTML pretty much like this.
You've got block, so inner element, and you've got sometimes from time to time you've got modifiers.
Yeah, and you got this block, and it's
just one single one more thing. We are using one additional thing, C. Here.
Yeah, it's just a convention.
Yeah, a convention just to let you know that you guys looking at this and you know that C is a component, like instantly. But for object it would be O and so on. So, and the next thing, because many people I hear that they are like, oh, so it's BEM, it's all about those double underscores and double dashes, and that's not the thing really. It's all about the separation and information, like that you know that this component name is over here, and the child of this component belongs to this component. Like you're communicating, it's immediately clear that this inner element belongs to the outer element, and the same goes for the modifier. So you could use anything else, really, anything.
But everyone just uses this convention.
Yeah, it's the most
so
popular.
we stick to this.
Be consistent.
This is the most important part.
Go for it.
But how?
Yeah, it's emoji. It's in
copy paste.
Yeah, it's in UTF.
Will it work?
Yeah, it's
Sure,
sure.
it would. Yeah, but then you would have to use bananas all the time. So.
And it could, and I think this could crack a little. So.
This is how I'm gonna recognize Alex.
Okay, so the other convention that we like to use connected with ITCSS is JS hooks, and these are just JS dash prefixed
basically
classes. Yeah. So this refers to the DOM elements that are affected by JavaScript, and they should not be styled.
They should not be styled. And just I'm gonna add why they should not be styled, because the idea is that you could use, let's say, JS
dash something.
JS dash open the pop-up, and you can use it on many elements, and then you have no idea. It could be a button, it could be some paragraph text, because why not for some reason? And this is why it's it will be more universal if you want to use styles on them.
Yeah, you just can be sure that adding this JS prefixed class name won't break your styles.
Yes.
Another convention is using state classes. That is also convenient with JavaScript. So these are let's say, open, has something, and these can be used instead of modifiers or together with them.
Those double dash classes that we showed before.
Yeah.
And they are more useful in case your component is changing during when the page is live. So it has been loaded, and then someone is clicking and constantly switching a box from pink to blue. This is when these classes are. So they are kind of like it's like kind of like emulating pseudo classes like hover, focus, and stuff like this.
And so actually another thing that comes from the core concepts of ITCSS is to resist from nesting, because it will just make your convention stop working. Actually, so to put it in
because
example,
often it's a quick example. It's very common, I think. Like you've got the list, and you are very tempted to just use li.
Let's just assume that we have this single list, this top bottom, this top level list. Yeah, so we just add this inner list later in time because designer wanted
it works. It's pretty quick. You think it's cool, and then there are. Can you switch on the slide?
Yeah,
and there are those things that you just can't predict what's going to happen in the future. So you've got this li style, and then there is the same list, but it's on this. So what? So you have to update CSS and add additional selector my list div.
Yeah,
but if you had classes, that would just work. You would just add classes and wouldn't even touch the CSS. Not to mention, well, the markup is like unstable. Like there can be some SEO optimizations or anything, and classes you can depend more on classes.
Yeah. So for styling, we just stick with classes, and actually, connected with nesting is that once you nest, it's really hard to go back. It's really hard to unwind this nesting. So probably what you will do is that you'll end up writing more nested code, which will be
just the previously nested code.
Yeah,
and so on.
It would be just even harder to maintain in the future.
But there is the thing that you just can't avoid nesting.
Yes, sometimes it's
a noble goal, but you can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, but we can minimize it, and that's
so the thing.
That's our goal here.
Minimize it, just to keep it minimal as possible.
Yeah. So the examples here is that you can use nesting for overriding some vendor style sheets like third-party code for slider.
So basically you have no choice.
Yeah.
What
so
can you do?
Also, it's often, or sometimes it's convenient to just add a active class top-level component and have it affect a couple of children, but not all of them. So sometimes it's okay, but usually it is just better to rethink this and ask yourself if it's not easier to apply a couple of more classes with your JavaScript.
You are going to nest, just think twice, maybe 5 times before you do it, because there is a risk that it's going to keep in the balls later.
Yeah. So we after some experiences with ITCSS and with CSS in general, we think that nesting is okay for changing state of our components. So these are these utility state classes like has something, or hovers, focused, or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, it's inevitable that you'll have to just write some relationships.
Some lists, stuff like
or some custom checkbox, which you don't want JS to be used. So this is convenient, but you just have to be aware that you're crossing the line.
Yeah. But just one thing here that it's important to know that even if we use this nesting, please notice that component only affects itself and not anything else.
Yeah,
it's important.
I think we'll come back to this.
Yeah,
later.
To get them ready.
And it's so you may be familiar with dry approach, so don't repeat yourself. If it comes to CSS, also in JavaScript, but we're talking about CSS. It's often good thing to really repeat yourself because it makes your life easier. And
maybe not like all the time, but
yeah, but it just usually does, because specifications, designs are changing rapidly, and this is a matter that is just likely to change. So writing more code that is repeating itself, but is just easy to change is beneficial for you in the future.
Yep.
And
about, well, repeating, sometimes like in this case we've got the media query, and that there is this state, and inside we've got another media query, and it looks all dandy.
Yeah,
but
we've got the code on the right, which does pretty much the same, and this is shorter, yeah. So why bother and writing more code?
I've got a few reasons. Like let's say there's this code on the left, and you like to add more media queries for is code, and then what? You'd have to unwrap it anyway, just to make it work. And this way you're getting credit for this, Plus the code is just consistent. You only add media queries where the properties are all the time, so it's more predictable.
Yeah, and also it's more flat, and it's just easier for human to read. But the next thing is just to keep it tidy. Yeah. And what we want to share here is that it's very beneficial to sync your file names with naming uses in your applications. Yes, it's just gonna save you time when you search for your components or for parts of the code.
There's many benefits to this. First of all, it's all consistent. You go to file name my pretty component, and you are certain that there is my pretty component and not the button or something. Plus with those text editors, you often just hit some shortcut, and then you've got fuzzy search, and then you can just browse all the components by the name. Very convenient.
Yeah, and hence they are in separate files, because they can be. They're just easy to find.
Yes.
Why did you use underscore at the beginning of file?
Because of the SAS convention to not compile. This is a old
from
thing.
the old times.
Yeah.
Because when you were firing SAS, it was attempting to compile all the files.
And it
it
was going to change all the CSS files without underscores to the corresponding CSS files. And if it had underscore, it was treated as a partial.
Yes.
Is it a configuration thing?
I don't think it's very, very relevant now.
Yeah, it's
maybe
it's
because I guess we are used to it. Okay, next slide. Important message. Do not mix components with each other.
Yeah, and this is very serious and very important.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a story from my life. So there is one of the projects, I found this situation. So it was in in my box as CSS, there was this other style. And not only it's kind of out of place, it just, because it doesn't fit this other component inside other component, and it's not just this component affects the other one. It shouldn't be like this. They should be completely separated. But anyway, I didn't know about it. Let's assume it's, it's invisible.
Let's assume I wrote in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here comes
Was
Artur.
Was here, but anyway, and then yeah, then here I come. Oh, and I need to adjust this my other box. So okay, I add a modifier.
Because we have a convention here.
Yeah, color pink doesn't work. What the hell? What's going on? And then after 15 minutes, maybe less, I found out that it is nested. Okay, what should I do? Maybe I should refactor the code and remove this nesting. But I'm a little bit afraid. It's a few months has passed. Maybe I'll break something.
Or maybe more components are depending on this behavior, and they're just hacking on the hack.
So
You can, sometimes it's just really hard to be sure.
So what
this.
I need to do? I just need to create like kind of like a train selector. See my other box dot see my other box pink. That's the only solution. So I need to maybe 3 times just to be sure that I overwrite this one. Thank you, somebody who added this. Guys, don't do it.
Yeah. So. And also, it's not a good thing in the markup because we are sticking to BEM, and we're treating components as blocks,
like separate entities.
Yeah. So right now here, what we are doing, we are mixing contents, and because we have this boxy, which has a couple of styles, and we have footer. And we just want to override this boxy with footer to have this display flags. And what we end up here is that
It's a puzzle question.
Yeah, we are not sure what display will get because these are components and they have the same specificity.
Even the best thing would be that you get what you want, and then the production code is compiled and.
Yeah, because
production it's not because
it will switch the naming, and let's say this boxy will get letter A, and this will get letter B, this will get letter A, and your code will be just uploaded alphabetically, and
because just as we said before, the components order is just you cannot depend only on those sections.
Yeah, because it matters on implementation of the tools you're using. So typically we're dependent on the alphabetical order, but on other systems, on other tools, it can be different. So we can just remove this this problem and use objects or instead of components to have a base from which we can inherit styles. So what we did here is we replaced we replaced component boxy and switched this to the object, and now we are sure that anything that is in footer will override what's in boxy.
Yeah, it's like the whole concept.
And also trumps are the new important in ITCSS.
Yeah,
and
at the bottom of the triangle.
Yeah, so ideally you shouldn't ever use important in ITCSS, but in the real world it's really hard to avoid. But you just have to remember that there is a entity it's called trumps, and it should override anything that was that it was paired with. So
yes,
it was written into utility framework.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because the Trump will this. But be alert that, for example, in Chido, it will be utility.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But
so
if you
it's
want Trump, we can.
I think
but it's even
shame. But the most important thing is that
these are just very convenient
tools.
Yeah.
It's like later at the later stage of the project, ideally you can just jump in, made a few tweaks without even touching the CSS. This is what actually happens in the project.
Yeah, and it's actually great for non-CSS developers.
Yeah.
Let's say for backend developer who sees that there is a title and it has something color. So maybe I'll change this color to the other one, and it will just work. And it will work because it was
kind of like a framework in behaviors, really.
Actually, as a backend developer, I can tell you, I saw this, I think, in Foundation work, and I just blindly used it like utility classes. I found this section utility classes, and I just used this like color something. So I have no idea.
yeah, but it works. Yeah,
It works. This is the thing. So yeah, do not take CSS lightly.
Yeah, take it serious. CSS it's hard to grab, but it just gets harder as you use it, as you learn it, and as your project grows.
So maybe if you don't want to use ITCSS, just use some structure at least, because later I can inherit this project.
and you won't be happy. Yeah, so we are heading to the end of this presentation. So we are just want you to know that ITCSS just works for CSS or every pre or post processor you use. So you can say, what about something like critical CSS or purple? Anyone will know what is PRPL?
One person.
Yeah.
I don't remember the abbreviation.
Yeah.
We have it somewhere.
Yeah, presenter notes. So this is a abbreviation for push critical resources to the initial route, render initial route, pre-cache remaining routes, and lazy load and create remaining routes on demand. So this is this is PRPL. So this is like a framework of behavior that you want to use on your progressive web app. So this is something that Google with Polymer tried to popularize, and it's easy to, if it comes to generating this minimal CSS for the about the content, about the fold part of your page. It's just easy with CSS, ITCSS, because you have this settings and resets, and then you import the components and objects that you're using, and that's all. You don't have.
Yeah, sure that in the header we only got header and not anything else, not any other components, because rules. So it's really helpful, really.
Yeah, and thanks to that, you don't need any hardly working automation tools that will that claim that they will extract those critical CSS, but they won't do usually. The other question is, can I use it in my existing code? So theoretically, yes, you can adopt it gradually. But it's hard, and I wouldn't recommend this if you're not going to develop this project for about a couple of months, and you have to introduce this idea to your fellow developers, and you have to the idea is to find the strongest selector. Wrap your imports inside this selector, and wrap your page content in a div, with these IDs. And theoretically, it should work, but you but it's like the migration path. So once you do it, you have to migrate your styles to use ITCSS, and this can be hard. And also, if you're using Chisel, you're already using ITCSS because it comes as a default.
Yeah. I mean, if you use it, we've got it all for you, but it's all there, all set. So it's recommended to use it.
Yeah, and it has some cool WordPress support right now. It's going to be next release will be featuring some WordPress CLI, so stay tuned. And to sum up, we just want to say that CSS is awesome, but ITCSS is awesomer. And just remember that there are also cool JS-based alternatives like CSS modules or CSS in JS, which are not inline styles, and they are available with module bundlers like Webpack or Browserify.
Those new front-end focused projects. I mean, like in React or in Vue.
And that's all. This was Artur.
And was,
Thanks.
Thank you.